Obviously, if you're a first-time buyer in London or East Anglia or the South East, you still have a problem. But is it really down to the government to bring in a scheme that effectively encourages people to buy houses they actually can't afford? 0845 6060 973. Andrew Teacher is a property expert and director of Blackstock, an independent consultancy, and he joins us now. Andrew, good afternoon.
Hi there.
How worried should we be about burgeoning house prices?
Well, I think we need to be worried, but for slightly different reasons, because when you look at the figures, Help to Buy is actually mainly helping people outside of the capital. So there's two parts of the Help to Buy. One is the equity loan and one is the mortgage guarantees. The first one is basically they lend you some money to prop up your deposit. If you're a home buyer with not enough cash, they give you some cash so you've got a bigger deposit. And the other mortgage guarantee scheme is, as it suggests, a guarantee on the mortgage for people that perhaps might not have got a mortgage otherwise. And those two schemes, according to the government itself, are helping a vast majority of people outside of London and the South East. So a lot of this sort of political fluffing around today over should Help to Buy be rolled back is it's a bit of it's just a bit of fluff. It's what you've basically got at the minute is the government taking responsibility for the housing boom that's basically caused by the cycle going up. So when things are great, governments take responsibility. When things are bad, the government says, "Oh, it's not our fault; it's someone else's fault." And you're right to say that house price growth is pretty unsustainable. But then you look at pockets of the country, like the city of Manchester, which, according to Nationwide, has gone up by 18% over the last year as well. So again, it isn't just London, but obviously the problem is more acute here because of the huge demand we have created by jobs and business.
But isn't this scheme just encouraging people who don't have enough money to buy homes that they can't afford? And in the end, that particular house of cards is not sustainable.
Well, it depends on how you define affordability. I think what Help to Buy can do is enable people that perhaps can afford to pay the monthly repayments of a mortgage. It can enable them to get a mortgage, and in a case where they don't have enough money for a deposit. And in that scenario, it's fine, because, again, as long as you can afford to pay back the mortgage fees each month, then in which case many of those aren't any more than rent, then it's fine. I'm trying to buy a house at the minute in North London, and one of the problems we've had is a lot of the dodgy selling and dodgy business that goes on behalf of the agents. I mean, we're dealing with Knights who have been very, very good, but one of the problems that I think a lot of people are facing at the minute is the return of gazumping and the return of agents being quite dodgy with how they are fixing the market. And I think what we have to look at is the fact that on a large scale, right across the board, housing and the supply of it is down to the fingertips of people like local planners whose vested interest is their own local backyards, the NIMBYs that live nearby, and the councillors consider whether they're going to get re-elected or not. These guys control what's built, and it's agents, which are mainly unregulated, who control what gets bought and sold. So I think what we need to look at is both of those two things, and also the wider supply, because ultimately, whether we have Help to Buy or not isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. It's going to depend solely upon how many new homes are being built each year, and until the government...
Well, that is true. That is absolutely true. And if you think about it, 30,000 people have used Help to Buy. I don't know how many people buy a house every year.
That's
but
3%. It's 3% of the transactions.
So why are we worrying about this scheme then?
Exactly. The reason why we're worrying is because it's been trumpeted up so much as the golden bullet, silver bullet solution to the housing market. And when it suits the government to say that, it will say it. But when it suits it to not say it, it won't say it. And this is the sort of circle of silliness that we're now engaging in.
What a terrible accusation to make against politicians.
Indeed.
Andrew, we'll leave it there because we've got lots of calls. Thank you very much for talking to us. That's Andrew Teacher, property expert and director of Blackstock. 5:26.